It is 9:47 p.m., and you just stood up to refill your water glass. 3 steps toward the kitchen. That is all it actually took. You turn around, and your dog is already sitting right there. Dead center of your cushion, nose buried in the warm fabric. Spinning once, twice, then dropping their full weight into your indent. Now flip everything you just saw, and forget the human side of it. Drop down to about 12 inches completely off the ground. And step inside the nervous system that just watched you stand up. The moment your weight shifts forward, your dog's sympathetic nervous system fires. Not a little, but a lot. Pupils dilate and ears rotate. The whole body goes into a rapid threat assessment cycle you will never see. Because it finishes right before your foot even hits the floor. Here is what most people really don't seem to understand. Your dog is not thinking. Your dog is processing. And those are two radically different things. When you rise from that seat, the air column above the cushion changes. Temperature shifts, and the scent you've pressed into that fabric for 45 minutes. It finally begins to completely disperse into the surrounding room. Your dog's vomeronasal organ, a structure humans don't even have, detects that dispersal. To that organ, your departure is not an event. It is a signal degradation. The strongest source of safety information in the room is now scattering. So the dog moves, and it moves fast. Not because it wants your spot, but because its HPA axis. The central stress command chain has just registered a micro spike. Cortisol nudges upward, not panic and not crisis. Just a quiet neurochemical shift that says the primary safety signal is mobile. It is now mobile and entirely unpredictable, and the fastest way to suppress that little cortisol nudge. Surround yourself with the densest concentration of that signal you can find, which happens to be your seat. That cushion is not a cushion to your dog's nervous system. It is a scent reservoir, holding the highest concentration of your volatile organic compounds. Your interdigital glands leave traces every time you tuck your feet under you. Your skin oils saturate the armrest, and breath particles settle into the fabric. To an organ processing 200 million olfactory receptors. That seat is you chemically and unmistakably. When your dog curls into that spot, the parasympathetic nervous system pushes back. Heart rate drops, respiration slows, and the vagus nerve sends inhibitory signals. Calm down. The scent is here. The signal and safety are intact. This is co-regulation, except your dog is not co-regulating with you. It is co-regulating with the chemical ghost of you pressed into the upholstery. And here is the part that should really stop you cold. Studies on separation behavior show dramatically higher cortisol when your scent is removed, versus when the owner simply leaves but the scent actually remains. The scent functions as a social buffer. Your physical body is secondary. Your chemical signature is primary. Your dog's stress architecture does not distinguish this. It can't tell the difference between you and your scent saturating the chair. To their nervous system, both of those things simply register as safe. So that frantic little dash to your seat, that spinning, settling, and deep exhale into the warm fabric, that is not affection, and that is not a game. That is a nervous system, running a constant background calculation, asking where the safest point in this environment actually is. And the answer every single time is wherever your scent concentration peaks. Your dog isn't choosing your spot just because it is soft. Literally every single spot in the room is soft. They're choosing the single location with the highest density safety signal available. To press their body into it, and drive vagal tone upward, all to push that cortisol back below the threshold. It is not stealing your seat. It is restabilizing its own nervous system. And it has been doing this, silently and precisely, every single time you stand up, for years. Here is the part that most people are not ready for. Your dog already knew you were going to stand up. Not because they love you so much they can read your mind. That is a fairy tale. The real answer is colder and more mechanical. And honestly, far more impressive than any human emotion you paste onto it. Your dog has built a predictive model of your body. Not your personality, not your soul, but your physical body. The specific pitch of your exhale right before you push off the armrest. The micro shift in your center of gravity when your weight transfers. The sound frequency of your phone hitting the table face down versus face up. Every one of these inputs has been logged and cross-referenced. Assigned a probability outcome inside a constantly running nervous system. A calculation running every single day it has lived with you. This is not intuition, and this is not some mystical bond. This is the proprioceptive system, and the vomeronasal organ at work. Doing exactly what 300,000 years of domestication built them to do. Let that land for a second. The vomeronasal organ sits just above the roof of your dog's mouth. It sits right behind their front teeth. It doesn't smell the way a nose smells. It reads chemical signatures, pheromones, and hormonal shifts. When your cortisol ticks up because you're annoyed by a text message, and you're about to get off the couch, your dog's vomeronasal organ has already registered a change. In the volatile organic compounds lifting off your skin, it happens before your muscles fire a single twitch. You haven't moved. You've barely even decided to move. But your biochemistry already announced it, and your dog caught the broadcast. Now stack thermoregulation on top of all that. Dogs run a baseline body temperature, between 100 and 102 degrees. Their metabolism burns hotter than yours. Maintaining core temperature on a cool surface costs measurable metabolic energy. Research on thermal efficiency in domestic canines shows a clear pattern. Resting on a pre-warm surface reduces the caloric expenditure. It reduces the energy required to sustain homeostasis. Your seat, still radiating your body heat, is not a sentimental object to your dog. It is the most energy-efficient horizontal surface in the house at that exact moment. Your dog didn't need a peer-reviewed paper to figure that out. Its hypothalamus did the math in real time and sent the legs moving. But here is where the science gets uncomfortable, and where the cute story most people tell themselves quietly falls apart. That warm seat is also saturated with you. Not just the idea of you. The literal molecular residue of you, skin cells, and sebaceous oils. The specific cocktail of bacteria that colonizes your particular body and no one else's. When your dog presses its nose into that cushion and inhales, the olfactory bulb occupies roughly 12% of their total brain mass, compared to about 1% of yours. It lights up with a neurochemical cascade. This is functionally identical to what happens during a social buffering event. Cortisol drops, the parasympathetic nervous system activates through the vagus nerve, and heart rate slows. The entire HPA axis that governs stress response simply downregulates. Your dog isn't cuddling your spot because it misses you. It is self-medicating. It is using your scent as a physiological tool to lower its own allostatic load. The cumulative wear on its nervous system from hours of low-grade vigilance. While you were sitting right there but not directly engaging. That isn't a metaphor. That is measurable biology. Studies on canine co-regulation have demonstrated that proximity to an owner's scent alone, without any physical contact, it produces a significant drop in salivary cortisol. So strip the whole scene down to what it actually is. A warm surface that reduces thermoregulatory cost. A scent profile triggering parasympathetic activation through vagal pathways. A predictive model built from thousands of micro-observations, telling the dog exactly when that surface becomes available. There is no love story, and there is no guilt trip. Just a nervous system doing precisely what it was engineered to do. Across millennia of co-evolution with yours. And that realization, that cold, clinical, borderline ruthless biological truth, is exactly what you were never equipped to see. Not because you're careless, or because you love your dog less than someone else, but because you and your dog are running completely different operating systems. And nobody ever handed you the translation manual. Just think about what actually happened. Your dog processed your departure through 300 million olfactory receptors. A vomeronasal organ that decodes emotional chemistry from skin particles. Particles you didn't even know you were shedding. A proprioceptive system tracked the weight shift in your hips. It tracked it a full second before your legs engaged. You processed the exact same moment with your eyes. That is the gap. Not a gap in love, and not a gap in attention. A gap in biological hardware so incredibly fundamental. It would be stranger if you had understood what was happening. Stranger than the simple fact that you didn't. Here is what no one ever tells dog owners. And it is maybe the most important thing you'll hear today. The guilt you feel right now is a human-specific, emotional response. Your dog simply does not have it. They aren't sitting on your cushion tallying up all the times you misunderstood them. Their hypothalamus is not generating resentment, and their amygdala isn't filing grievances. The social buffering system drives them to seek your scent and your warmth, to seek your specific location in the house. That system doesn't have a punishment function at all. It only has a seeking function. Your dog is not keeping score. They never were. So when you pushed them off the couch and pointed at their bed, when you told them to go lay down, they didn't experience betrayal. What they experienced was a momentary interruption in a co-regulation loop. And then they simply recalibrated. Because that is what their nervous system is designed to do. Recalibrate, seek proximity again, and try once more. They aren't fragile in the way your guilt is telling you they are. They are almost absurdly resilient in their desire to be near you. Which is exactly why they'll be back in that seat the next time you stand. And the time after that, and the time after that. Completely undeterred by however many times the pattern was interrupted before. You are reading a safety system with human assumptions. You saw a dog in your spot and interpreted it through dominance. Through stubbornness, through humor. Because those are the frameworks your species defaults to. Your dog was executing an affiliative proximity behavior, driven by tens of thousands of years of evolution. And they were doing it in a sensory language that your biology was never built to decode in real time. That is not failure. That is two profoundly different nervous systems trying to share a couch. And the fact that you're still here, the fact that you watched this far, and felt that knot tighten when you realized what you might have missed, that tells me something your dog already knows about you. You care enough to look closer. You always did. You just didn't have the lens. But now you do. And the beautiful part that should dissolve whatever is left of that guilt is that your dog doesn't need you to go back and fix anything. They don't need an apology, or for you to make up for lost time. Their system doesn't work that way. What they need is almost laughably simple. And it starts tonight, on that same seat. With one small shift that most owners will never think to try. Tonight, when it happens again, and it will happen again, do not move them. That is the entire shift. The one thing most owners never think to try. Because every instinct you have says to nudge them off. Reclaim your territory. Re-establish the seating chart of your own living room. You have been doing that for years. Tapping the cushions, saying down. Maybe scooping them up. and placing them on the floor with a little laugh and a silly dog. And every single time, without you realizing it, you were answering a question they never stopped asking. They asked, "Are you my safe place?" and you said, "Move." You didn't know that was the conversation, but now you do. So here is what tonight looks like. You get up. You go to the kitchen, the bathroom, wherever, you come back. And there they are, curled into the warm dip your body left behind. Nose buried in fabric that is saturated with your scent. Every muscle slowly releasing tension. Because their nervous system has decided, based on thousands of years of survival wiring, that this particular square of space is the safest location in the entire house. They chose it, not the dog bed you bought, not the sunny patch by the window, not the empty chair across the room. They chose yours. And instead of reclaiming it, you sit down next to them. Not on top of them, not squeezed in so tight they have to rearrange. Just next to them, on the couch, on the edge of the cushion, or on the floor beside it if there is no room. Close enough that your hip, knee, or arm barely touches their body. No commands, no eye contact, no petting. You don't even need to look. Just sit, and breathe, and exist in the same space. Without asking anything of them at all. 5 minutes. That is the prescription. 5 minutes of being a body next to their body. With zero agenda. What you're actually doing in those 5 minutes is something most training programs will never teach you, because it is too simple. You're co-regulating, allowing your parasympathetic nervous system and theirs to sync. Through shared stillness, shared warmth, shared proximity. Their breathing will slow. You'll feel it before you see it. A tiny shift in the weight pressing against your leg. A jaw that unclenches, a tail that stops twitching and just rests. That is their cortisol dropping. The hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis stepping down. From alert to baseline, not because you gave a command, but because your presence delivered without pressure. Told their body something no word ever could. Nothing is required of you right now. You're just safe. And here is what will surprise you. Yours will drop too. Your shoulders will come down from wherever they've been hiding all day. Your breathing will deepen without you deciding to deepen it. The vagus nerve doesn't care who initiated the calm. It only cares that the body next to yours is no longer bracing. Social buffering works in both directions. You aren't just helping your dog. Your dog in that moment is helping you. They've been trying to help you every single time they took that seat. You just never sat down long enough to receive it. No trainer, no treats, no clicker. No 15-step protocol. You'll abandon by Thursday. Just you, on the couch or the floor, beside an animal who has spent its entire life trying to be near you. Finally letting that nearness do what it was always designed to do, tonight. Then I want you to come back here and tell me what you noticed. Not what you think happened, but what you actually observed. Did their breathing change? Did they lean into you or shift away? Did their ears soften? Did they let out one of those long, slow exhales? Through the nose. The one that sounds like they've been holding something all day. And finally let it go. Did you feel your own chest loosen? I want the details. The tiny specific blink and you miss it details. That no one talks about, because no one is paying attention closely enough. Drop it in the comments, one observation. That is your assignment. Because here's the truth. Most people will scroll right past. You don't need to become a better dog owner. You need to become a slower one. And it starts with 5 minutes on a couch you are willing to share. This doesn't mean you failed your dog. Most owners were simply never taught to notice the earliest signal before the visible reaction. Your dog already knows what that seat means. Tonight, you finally show them that you know it too. Watch your pet closely tonight. Which tiny signal looks different? Now that you're looking for safety and stress, instead of attitude. Leave that detail in the comments.